Verse 24. But God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream by night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. So on the way there, before he reaches them, he has a dream. And in this dream, God speaks with him and informs him not to say anything, neither good nor bad. So it's kind of neutral. It's not saying, okay, you're supposed to bless him. That's maybe asking way too much of Laban. Although God can ask whatever he wants to. But remember, Laban was kind of worshipping. He was a polytheist, as we're going to see later in this chapter. So I don't think God really wanted Laban to anyhow say something good or kind of a blessing to Jacob. That would be like a Muslim best Christian kind of idea, right? That's just not kind of done. Okay? So the good part and the bad part, understandably, because Laban wanted to say bad, and God said, no, you're not going to touch him. You're not going to say do anything against him because I'm protecting him. So he didn't want Laban to give him a blessing, say good. He didn't want him to say something negative by doing him any harm. That is the warning that God gave to Laban. Verse 25. And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his kinsmen pitched tents in the hill country of Gilead. Right, so Laban overtook. Now he caught up with him. Right, he pitched his tents. Jacob had his tents there. They pitched the tents here, right, close to each other. Kind of idea. Then most likely to not have the show of force come over with everyone, because then it looked at this, there's a war starting, right? So they pitched the tents. They then kind of send out the white flag. Negotiations will follow. And this is now what we see happening here as it's going. So tents pitched opposite sides, and then negotiations will happen. Laban is going to go over to Jacob's side. Verse 26. And Laban said to Jacob, what have you done, that you have tricked me and driven away my daughters like captives of the sword? So yeah, he didn't start off with saying, but you deceived me. He said you tricked me. Right now, I think this has to do with Laban feeling like he is a deceiver. And by admitting that Jacob deceived him, that would admit that Jacob actually got one over him. So Jacob's a better deceiver than he is. And he didn't want to admit to the fact that Jacob's actually a better deceiver. So he used as well, like the editor before, Moses before, used the word trick. As well, he uses the word trick here. But that is what he did. He didn't deceive him, he tricked him. Because we all understand the reason for this. Right. And why in such a way? But like as if you drove my daughters away. Okay? As if Laban would have let them go. Yeah, right. Laban would have let them go. And Joseph going after Joseph. Jacob is going here to say that he understands that was not going to happen ever. So that is why ultimately he had to trick them. But he's this indignant father-in-law. How could you do this? And drive them away like captives of war kind of. I mean, my daughter, your wife. Verse 27. Why did you flee secretly and trick me and did not tell me? So I have sent you away with mirth and songs, with tambourine and lyre. It's just like saying, if you had told me, I would have sent you away the right way. Like we have this big farewell party. I could say goodbye, greet them, right? Do the right thing. This is how it's supposed to be done. Okay? Yeah. Would he have done that? Jacob didn't believe it for 1 second that he's going to do that. And I don't think he would have done it. If you look at who Laban was and how he was feeling towards Jacob at that stage, he would have rather had him killed. Verse 28. And why did you not permit me to kiss my sons and my daughters for a while? Now you have done foolishly. Right? So as well, the other part, not only the making a big festival and letting him go with song and feast, but at the same time, I could have said, kiss my daughters goodbye, my sons, in other words, his grandson, goodbye, and let them off in the right way. If you go visit your family and you after a long time you come there and you leave them to go away for maybe good, you're not just going to rush off at night time, you're going to have a feast of it, you're going to have kissing and whatever, and then they as well. Right, and I remember as well, like in a farm, when every time we visit the family, and before we go, it was a big thing of finishing the cup of tea, the coffee, or whatever, depending on your male or female, and then go into the house to kiss the girls, the women in the family goodbye, and give a handshake to the men, and the grandfather we had to kiss goodbye as well. And only then you get into the car. You didn't just rush off. Nobody just got in the car and rush off. No. Okay, you don't do that. Okay, so in this case as well, I would have wanted to do it the right way. So why didn't you allow me to do it the way it's supposed to be done? So he said, you are done foolishly. Verse 29. It is in my power to do you harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Right? So he said, yes, I can do your harm. Sure, what can Jacob do? He has a couple of women with him and lots of kids, boys, a few teenagers maybe. But what can he do against this might of Jacob, Laban, and his family, his sons and their servants? There's nothing he can do, really. So Laban is stating this, I can do a lot to do now against you. It's my power to harm. I can harm you. But God appeared to me. He spoke in a dream to me. And he said, be careful not to say good or bad. So Jacob, don't expect blessings here. Right? Because I'm not allowed to bless you. And Jacob, don't expect as well, I'm not going to do any harm to you either. Verse 30. And now you have gone away because you long greatly for our father's house. But why did you steal my gods? So here Laban is now taking this step in this discussion to kind of say, okay, I understand why you're leaving. Because, not because of me, right? Because that would be admitting too much on his side. But because you long so much to go home. Okay, I understand. You've been away now for 20 years. You want to see your father. You want to see your family. You want to see your country. Okay, I understand that. Okay, so like he's giving a step towards. He's not saying anything good here. He's just giving a get out of jail free card kind of to Jacob to sort of say, but okay, I understand, you just want to like kind of get out. Let's stop on that, okay? Don't say the reason is me and I deceived you and all of that. Don't go down there to your father and tell him that I deceived you and I'm this evil guy. Let's use the excuse of you just long to go home, okay? You understand? We both understand each other here, right? Okay, good. But there's this other thing, Jacob, which I don't understand. It's all good and well with that, right? So you have an excuse, I gave you an excuse, we both get out of this looking whiter as snow kind of idea. But this idea of you stealing my household gods, now what is that all about? Verse 31. Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I thought that you would take your daughters from me by force. So he's answering the first part about, so why did he go? Okay, he's not saying, okay, thank you Laban for giving this excuse. I mean, he knew in the back of his head, this is no excuse he can use, so that both sides can agree on to use this excuse. But he's answering this question of why he left in this way. Because he thought he's not going to let his daughters go, that he will take his daughters away from him by force, which he could have done. And as we've seen, that by law, actually, only the servant, if the servant gets a wife given to him by his master, then when he leaves alone, not with. So his father had kind of the law on his side here, and he didn't want to leave, and he thought that might happen. No, sure, his father would have done it. So he's not saying that he would have done it. He's saying that he was afraid this might happen. Again, it's like from his side. So I thought this might happen. So. Okay, verse 32. Now the question about the household gods hasn't been solved yet. Anyone with whom you find your gods shall not live. In the presence of our kinsmen, point out what I have that is yours, and take it. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen him. Okay, so he is saying here, yeah, concerning the household gods, fully agree, no need. Wherever you find it, that person dies. Full stop. Okay? And anything else you might find that doesn't belong to me. So if I've taken anything that doesn't belong to me outside of the household gods is included, take it, and the person who took the household gods, where you find it, that person will die. And it ends up with Jacob didn't know. Yeah, we know, Jacob didn't know. Would Jacob have said this if he knew? If he knew, therefore he would have had to deceive his father. He would have had to lie to his father. And at this stage, we see that there's already this change in Jacob. He didn't deceive his father-in-law, he tricked him. Okay, not like the same. He's still up to tricks, but it's not the same liar, deceiver as before. So there's already, after all is said and done, after all this time in exile, some change for the good in Jacob. So if he knew that Rachel and he lied to, then that would have implied that Jacob is really still kind of the same old Jacob. And so Moses is making here a point clear by saying that Jacob didn't know. It's not by accident that he says it. He makes sure that we know so that Jacob didn't know. So Jacob is not covering him here or going to lie for Rachel's sake. He knew nothing about this. So that we can see this growth, like the growth in Abram. Like in maybe, we don't see so much the clear growth in Isaac per se, right? But we see as well here in the difference and the change the attitude and the growth in Jacob. Okay, and that is why this states. And none of these things, even small little sentences like these, are out of place. They're all there for a reason, to teach us something. It says that sometimes you need to think and put yourself in the shoes of, see the reason for that, right?